Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to another Propass video. And yesterday we did a ranking for the 4-star summonable GACHA units, right? And today I thought we'd go ahead and do 3 stars, as many of you guys requested in the comments and such. So 3 stars in comparison to 4 stars, I think there's like a slightly larger pool in terms of units. It does have the same issues with the summonable 4 stars, right? It's not because they're 3 stars or they're 4 stars, they're bad. It's because none of them have synchrons, and obviously, like I mentioned yesterday, units with synchrons generally are just so much better, right? A lot of, again, it's not a 3-star, 4-star issue, right? It's not because they're not 5 stars, they're not good. If one of the best units in the game is a 3-star, right? A lot of like top tier units are all 3 stars, 4 stars. It's just that, again, like I mentioned before, they don't have grids, and we don't know when they're going to get grids. So that's why they're generally not as used as again, some of the other units. However, there are still some really usable units, like the 4 stars as well, right? That are actually pretty decent. And honestly, I do think there probably are more usable 3 stars than there are, or summonable 3 stars than there are summonable 4 stars, in my opinion. But here's the, I guess it's sort of like the really good 3 stars are really good, and like the bad ones are really not that useful, right? But anyways, without further ado, let's get into this. So mainly, like I mentioned before, in yesterday's video, we rank these on usability and their overall power, not in a vacuum how good they are, but although that is also put in consideration in a lot of factors. But anyways, let's get into this. So let's start from the top. For the S tier, right? Should I probably name these in the future? I don't know, it doesn't matter. So in the first tier, I'd put in Pelipper. It's not because Pelipper is that good of a unit. It's because it's the only rain dance unit in the game. It's literally the only rain dance unit in the game that could give us rain. And rain is actually one of the better weathers, right? A lot of water type units could use it. A lot of non-water type units that have dire rain or whatever, right? Kingdra, for example, is dire rain. A lot of, non-water units do also use rain dance as well. And rain is just inherently better than, say, sand or whatever, or hail, because it does give the attack bonus, right? Like sun does. So Pelipper is up there. As for anything else for Pelipper does have like flinch, which is cool-ish, I guess. It's like, it really is kind of similar to Blaine, in my opinion, right? Because you have your weather move, you have a sharply raises speed move, and then like you got like a tech move with like flinch on air slash. I think also racing rain as well. So Pelipper, pretty good. Okay, I wouldn't say pretty good, pretty useful, right? Very, very useful. Moving on to someone else who probably put on here as no surprise here, right? Victory Bell. Again, like Victory Bell without lucky skill is kind of whatever. So like either you give it a lucky skill with Troublemaker, which again I don't personally recommend, or you pair it up with the accuracy buffing unit, which is harder to get. I don't know. What are the rates? Well, anyways, regardless, you do need to either buff its accuracy or give it a lucky skill to make it that good. If it isn't, if it doesn't have those, then the usability is much lower, right? Because you don't want your sleep powders to miss. But when they don't miss, again, this is very, very powerful. Moving on to another one I'd probably put up here, Propass. I think Propass aged relatively well. Obviously, it is a special, supporter. And like most other special supporters in the game, get outclassed by Sabrina. However, Propass does have some other interesting stuff. It does have wide guard, which is the only unit in the whole game to have wide guard, right? It's only one use, but it's only 1 gauge as well. So you have wide guard with that, which is nice. And then the Study Buddies gives you both special attack and speed at the same time, which is again a really, really good offensive buff. And then you also have X defense all as well. So like these buffs are fantastic. These are really, really good buffs. As for Nosepass itself, I think it has like okay-ish bulk as well, right? 244 on both. Again, it doesn't have heals, but it does have X defense all as well to help with that. Its passive is pointless, unfortunately. So there's that. One thing that I don't really like about it as much is it doesn't have a 1 gauge spam. Unfortunately, it is a 2 gauge spam without a move gauge refresh. Well, it's not 2 gauge spam. It's 2 gauge move because you can't spam it. But again, you do give yourself, or not yourself, the whole team speed as well. So there's that to compensate for it. So Nose Pass slash Propass, I guess now. It's so weird, like having Roxanne have like Propass over Nose Pass. But obviously it makes sense because you're evolving it. But like on the other hand, Nose Pass just fits so much more. Plus, I like Nose Pass more. Anyways, moving on to the last one I'm probably gonna put on here is probably the weakest of these 4, but like it's still really, really good. It's Blissey. However, Blissey is like slightly situational, just because it does have like some glaring weaknesses, but it also has some really, really good upsides. It is a supporter as well. If you look at its stats, a lot of HP, a lot of special, I wouldn't say a lot of it, decent special defense, right? It has nothing for defense. If you get hit by a physical move, you're dead. So, like, if you're trying to use Blissey, you probably would be forced to, like, use Blissey as, like, a, like, pure support, like, a sort of Sabrina type of role, except Sabrina tanks much better. Yeah, you generally want to bring another tank to tank and then use Blissey to heal. Blissey has Hyper Voice, by the way. For those of you who are wondering when Hyper Voice is going to come into the game and then, give it to Gardevoir and give Gardevoir Fairy Shift. Unfortunately, sorry to break this news to you, but Hyper Voice are in the game and it's kind of bad. I mean, 63 for like an AoE move is nice, but then, or a 2 gauge move is nice, but then it's AoE, so it's split damage, so like, yeah, not really good, unfortunately. But Blissey is good because you do have X special attack all, which is nice, and then you also have all out patience, where you restore allies HP, which should be 40%. It's basically a potion, and then sharply raises both your defenses as well. So this is a very, very good heal. Another, I guess, downside is both of these are 2 gauges, but then again, like these are like like this heal is really, really good, giving defenses and heals. But again, like I mentioned before, it has a glaring weakness, which is an issue, especially like sometimes. Even when you're not tanking with Blissey, you'll inevitably get hit by a sync move. So if you have any physical sync move opponents, it would be a huge risk to run Blissey. Anyways, but it also has passive skill Helping a Hand too, which has 30% chance of removing all status conditions from all allied sync pairs after the Pokemon uses the move. So again, Blissey, very good unit, aside from the fact that it has no defenses. Moving on. So we're going to go into the next tier. The first one we're going to talk about, unfortunately, we couldn't keep Floatzel in the top tier. Floatzel, like you guys know, I've been a huge fan of Floatzel. I've been a huge advocate for Floatzel. It's still a really good unit. I just feel like it's slightly outdated and does get kind of overshadowed by Grimsley and Mega Sharpedo, right? And with all the other water type units and all that stuff that came out. Berry Synchrid, right, which makes Berry actually usable. So Floatzel does fall off a bit, but Floatzel is still really good, as much as it pains me to put it in. Obviously, A tier is still really good, but hey, at least I'm not biased on this one, right? But yeah, Floatzel is still a solid unit, right? It gives itself max buffs, but that's one of the other reasons why I moved Floatzel down here a bit as well, because max, like giving yourself max buffs, this +6 attack and +3 crit, like self-sustaining used to be like huge deal in Masters. It hasn't been a huge deal anymore, due to, again, the content shift from co-op to now single player. If you don't have max buffs, like for example, a really good example is Wallace, right? Wallace doesn't have any buffs. Like, it's a tech unit, it's not supposed to do damage, but it can do really good damage, and it does not have any special attack buffs, no crit buffs at all, right? But it's still a very viable water type damage dealer option, just because, again, like I mentioned before, the format now changed, and it enables a lot more flexibility in terms of team building and stuff. So that also hurts Floatzel a little, but again, Floatzel is still great because it does good damage, and also has the flinch on Waterfall with Aggravation 1, which is nice, and Racing Rain. So it's still a pretty solid unit overall. Moving on, let's see, who else should we throw in here? How about this? Let's put Where is it? Medicham. Let's put Medicham in here. So Medicham is slightly overlooked, just because like people never use it, which is it's a good reason. There is a good reason that people generally don't use it, because there are better units that does its job, sorta, right? So for Medicham, you do have X attack all, sharply raises attack of all allied synchro, which again pretty nice. Rock smash, good chance of lowering target's defense, was also pretty nice. And then you also have gloves off, which +1 crit, and then next attack is a sure hit. A lot of people in the past have been using Medicham and Feraligatr in conjunction, right? So for Alligator Mega Kicks, you get extra 2 guaranteed hit Mega Kicks, right? But now, again, with more accuracy buffing units coming out, Medicham isn't as effective as before. However, it does still give you, physical attack, gives you crit, which again, it's still nice as a unit. So there's that. It's just a solid support. But it's just not anything crazy, right? So moving on, next one I'm gonna put here is probably Lunatone. Lunatone is okay. The buffs are like not really that good, but the meta does help it a bit because Lunatone. I don't know why I clicked rock. Lunatone does give you defensive buffs, which is nice. Again, I'm not a huge fan of One Mind. Sharply raises attack and special attack. Like, I think this is like the only unit in the game that sharply raises all allied sync pairs attack and special attack in like one move. That's not like EV sync move, unless I'm misremembering someone. Without a chance, right? Like, I would have much preferred if it was like sharply raises either attack or special attack and then like +1 crit or like +2 speed or whatever, or +2 special defense. But it is what it is. It's still fine. It's a fine trainer move. It's not like, again, it's not like bad. It's not it's just extra. It's really extra. Right? And then again, X special defense all is definitely nice. You have a 1-bar spam with confusion. None of these are really, I guess, stalwarts. Okay, don't get your special defense lowered, and that's generally pretty nice for Lunatone. Anyways, or a unit that could take some hits, not like the best tank, but it does have some okay-ish defensive stats, I guess. But again, you do increase your special defenses, so it's like not that bad. Moving on, last one I'm probably gonna put in this tier, and this is like borderline, honestly, is Marlin Arcanine, just because I almost want to put Marlin Arcanine. Yeah, you know what? Now that I think about it, I probably could put Marlin Arcanine in B tier. I like Marlin Arcanine. I like using them. I think they're a solid pair that has I would say here's the thing about Marlin Arcanine. It's what they do. They're really good at what they do, but they are sort of niche, just because it's weird standing strong, right? Block status conditions from allied fields. A player removes all status conditions for all allied sync pairs. This is very, very powerful. However, again, it is kind of niche and it's very stage specific, so you can't like just use it against with anyone, right? So there's that, unfortunately. But in the correct situations, this is very, very powerful. This is just straight up better than Wallace's Grand Illusion or whatever it's called, right? Since that one doesn't block additional statuses, right? And this one does, and cures statuses straight up as well. And then you also get X speed all, which is always nice. X speed all is just good. it's just good. As for anything else, it's not really greatest. It does have like okay-ish defensive stats, right? So there's that as well. Moving on, I guess, in this year, we'll put Hariyama. Hariyama would be very, very interesting with Synchrid. Like, of all the potential Synchrids that these units could have in the future, Hariyama has a really, really good potential for a good Synchrid, right? Hariyama has a lot of good stuff in it, but again, also slightly situational, except for the fact that it has potion. So like potion users are like never situated, because you can use potion everywhere, except it's like one of the, I guess, weaker potion units, just because it does have some issues. Both these 2 gauge moves, not the quickest, right? The speed is a bit of an issue. Its defenses aren't that great. It does have a lot of HP though. So there's that. It does have very unique a brick break, which I get because it can break reflect light screen, all that stuff, which is definitely really, really helpful. But again, niche. Rock Smash is always decent. So this thing would be great with a grid, but without a grid, unfortunately, it's again very rather situational. But yeah, hopefully it gets a decent grid, I guess. Moving on, but Araados in here. Araados is okay. Like, again, it's another very situational unit, and honestly wouldn't even be like the thing with Araados is like Venom Drench is good. Venom Drench is really, really good. However, you need to like build a whole team around it, because like the chances of Araados poisoning by herself is rather low. So like if you are trying to go for Venom Drench, some kind of Venom Drench build, you have to put it in a poison team, right? Whether it be Koga, Technido Queen, a Golbat, whatever, right? Did I mention? I think I mentioned Koga, a Viper, right? You need something to go with it, so that's a slight issue. And again, it's relatively limited, but again, Venom Drench is just a really, really good debuff. It lowers all three of these stats, and it's AoE as well. And you also get sharply raised speed and evasiveness. So again, like I mentioned before, it's relatively situational, but really good in those situations. It's especially good for Legendary Arena, just because of how Legendary Arena works, right? Because once your unit gets taken out, once your team gets taken out, any debuffs that you leave on the opponent, they still stay. So a popular strat that folks are using who are struggling with the Legendary Arena is that they lead in with, say, Araados or whatever, right, and debuff them and then get taken out, of them. The next squad they sent in is much more safer, right? So yeah, there's that. Moving on to the next tier, C tier. So we're coming into the tier of either very niche or just gets completely outclassed or really hard to find a use for units. First one is going to be Bryson Cryogonal. Bryson Cryogonal is borderline B. I could potentially put it in B because it does have some uses, but again, it's very, very niche. I've seen people, use it again in the Legendary Arena. When the opponents have their last bar, they have like crazy buffs or whatever. You just go in, haze their buffs, and then boom, there goes all their buffs. The only thing about Cryogonals is it really doesn't do much else. I guess you could Stone Cold Endurance, sharply raise your special defense, and then endure, right? How many? Oh, there are 2 uses for that, so that's pretty nice, I guess. You're trying to semi tank with Cryogonal as well, except your tank, your tank stats are like really bad. So there's that. I guess you do have Healing Hail, so that helps a bit over there. But yeah, outside of that, Ice Beam, Ancient Power, not really good. 2-bar moves that don't really, chances are really, really small to do anything there. So moving on, you also have Mina Gravel. Mina Gravel, same thing with Araados, except the debuff is worse. It is good if you're going for specifically only attack debuffs. And Mina Gravel is, does require less setup than Araados, right? But again, it's only for like physical attackers, and then also Jasmine also decreases speed, which I do like a lot, along with physical and special attack. But there's that for Mina, I guess. Nothing much else. Moving on, we're gonna put a bomb. So if you're wondering why is Pelipper all that high and then a bomb so low, ice is like hail is just not as good as rain. Hail is nowhere as good as rain. Abomasnow will get better. Like again, all these weather units are dependent on, what the units, the units that actually need them, right? One of the reasons why Acerola is a top, a very high to top tier unit is because Cynthia and Garchomp is so incredibly strong, right? Also same with Silver and Blaine and again Pelipper. But Abomasnow, nothing really uses it. Okay, your Blizzard doesn't miss and hail. Yay, right? Yeah, there aren't a lot of passives that give you, the hail buffs or whatever. Again, there's some rare healing hails, all that stuff. Plus, hail animation is annoying, and hail, does damage to your team. So in hail, you do have to limit your options a bit. Kind of like Sandstorm, except again, Sandstorm, Acerola supports one of the best strikers in the game. So there's that. Moving on, we could put Electrode here, I guess. Electrode is also borderline D tier, right? I don't know, why is there another D? This should be just the pool. I just noticed that, and we're almost done. Isn't that interesting? Electrode doesn't do anything. Anything interesting, I guess. It does lower the opponent's special attack. So it's basically a special version of Mina, right? So there's that. It has very, very good speed, which I do like. So yeah, sharply lowers the target special attack. The reason why if I were to compare these two, Gramble and Electrode in terms of usage, even though Electrode clearly is the better unit in a vacuum because insane speed and X speed as well, right? I do think I prefer Mina a bit more just because the units that lower the opponent's attack aren't as common as units that lower opponent's special attack, right? Because you have Houndoom for Snarl, you could Grimsy, whatever, Struggle Bug with Viola Masquerain, the upcoming, I think, Egg Tech Venomoth also does that as well. There's just so many more units that lower special attack in comparison to physical attack. So Mina has more usability, but Electrode is the better unit. And you also get evasiveness as well. Last Word, which is fun, but doesn't do much. Moving on. So, in this tier, I guess we could let's put Beedrill in here. Beedrill is, unfortunately, I think it's probably, let me see. Let me check out these bugs. Yeah, Beedrill, I want to say, is the worst bug striker in the game. Although it's not, terrible. It's definitely not terrible. It does have its merits. Fell Stinger is interesting because you get +3 attack when you take out something. So if you just take out the sides early, you get +6 attack relatively easily without spending any MP. So there's that. Unfortunately, you have Sure Crit, which is lame. Much better if you just got Dire Hit. Doesn't even have to be Dire Hit plus, even if it was just regular Dire Hit, and then paired with Critical Strike 2, that'll be really, really good combo. The only issue, my issue with Beedrill is that its moves are kind of doo-doo. You know what? Let's check Mega Beedrill. Mega Beedrill has obviously better stats and all that stuff, right? It has really, really good stats, 400 attack, good speed, but it's just you're gonna attack with Fell Stinger or Twin Needle, right? Twin Needle, again, you do have that small chance of poisoning your opponent. Yeah, it's just the moves are bad. It's kind of like Barry. It's very comparable to Barry. I think without I'm talking about Barry without a grid. Obviously, you can't compare it with Barry with a grid. But yeah, it's kind of like Barry. Really, really good stats. The moves are bad, unfortunately. So there's that, I guess. Moving on. And this year, I guess we'll throw in as well. We'll throw in. Let's do Avalon, I guess. Avalon is also borderline. Bottom tier. Here's the thing with Avalon. Avalon is pointless. I don't know how else to put it. Does the X attack and all that stuff, drastically raise defense, and then draws aggro. You're doing that mainly to make Avalanche more useful. 2-bar move, 75 power, looks good, right? Wrong, not good. 2 turns for that 75 power. So it's what? 75. What's half of 75? It's basically a 37. It's basically a regular 2-bar move. Unless you get hit by your opponent, which then you double your damage. So then from how much was it? 30 something, right? 37. So you basically go from 37 damage per turn to 75 damage per turn, which is what 150 damage in 2 turns. However, again, you have to be hit, and your defenses suck. So you can't take too many hits. Look at these defenses, man. Even if like 5 stars, like sure you do get drastically raised defense, but like if you get like your bases just aren't that good. Like sure you could take a few hits, but like you just don't want your striker to get hit. You do not want your striker to get hit, and then like it's just not. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. Unfortunately, yeah, it is what it is, I guess. Nothing else to talk about over here. Wolfrook and Avalon. Again, like I mentioned before, probably one of the weaker ones here. Next one's probably Marlin. Marlin is also like borderline, right? Like if you want to put it in last year, it's fine as well. Marlin, what are these stats, man? Okay, you have like good defense. That's all. As for Marlin, the reason why Marlin is like complete like bad is it has X defense all, but you would use literally every other X defense all unit in the game before you use Marlin, right? Because like your only other move is like Rough Seas Ahead, which draws aggro, and gives you endurance. And you do not want to draw aggro. You don't heal, right? Your special defense is like bad for a tank. You're not even a tank. Come on, like your HP isn't even that good. Your defense, okay, it's over 200, which is fine, right? It's fine defense, but like again, you don't heal. You're just gonna get bit through, all the way down to your endurance. So there's that, and then passive doesn't save it. Its moves, Aqua Tail, Rock Tomb. Rock Tomb's okay. It's okay of a move. But yeah, this is probably, I want to say, the weakest support in the game. Non-Eggmon support, right? Honestly, most Eggmons are better than this. Most Eggmons are more useful than Marlin. So there's that, I guess. And for last year, it's these three. Here's the thing with Rampardos. Rampardos has insanely high DPS. It's like one of the highest DPSs in the game. It's not the highest, but it's like it's like top like 10 or whatever, right? Highest DPS in the game. Except one problem, it takes itself out. Head Smash, 188 power, 3 gauge move. You take 33% damage recoil. You do not have stand fast. Like you will get like 2 of the biggest hits in, and then you'll die. Basically, this Head Smash does insane amounts of damage, but you're gone afterwards, right? Unfortunately, so there's that. There's just basically no usability in this outside of like that one event with Rayquaza. You definitely do not want to bring this into Battle Villa. If you're bringing this into Battle Villa, just like spam Smackdown instead, I guess. Yeah, this trainer move is solid though. +3 move gauges, and makes the Head Smash a sure hit because it is 80% accuracy. So there's that, I guess. But yeah, not good. You don't, yeah. Seismitoad. Seismitoad, unfortunately, like I don't think any unit in this game is like straight up unusable. Any unit is usable, including Seismitoad, right? It's just that there's better units that does Seismitoad's job better, right? So Seismitoad, slightly annoying because like you have Mud Shot, 2 gauge, single target, lower speed, and then you have Bulldoze, AoE, 3 gauge, lower speed. Do we really have to double up on lowering speeds? Okay, it would be nice if like they made Seismitoad like a good, speed debuffer, because speed debuffing, again, like I mentioned before, I'm a huge fan of speed debuffing, but like give it a good speed debuffing move, like just straight up, pick out Heliolisk, and then like it's just better. Like you got Electro Web for 2 gauges AoE, lower speed. And then you got a 2 gauge single target lower speed, and then you got a 3 gauge AoE lower speed. I don't know. Seismitoad could have been like they could have made Seismitoad so much better, but they for some reason chose not to. Its defensive stats are okay, I guess. Again, not the greatest, but it's whatever. Does have X special defense, so there's that. Sharply raised speed, which is great, and then endurance, which is also good. But yeah, Seismitoad could have been better. They shafted Seismitoad, honestly. Yeah, Seismitoad got shafted. And the last one, Soulrock. Why would you ever use Soulrock? I just don't know why you would ever use Soulrock. I know people used it before. I just don't know why. Like, why would you use Soulrock? Like, just use another Psychic Striker instead. Like, Mewtwo's free. Mew's free. Right? Really, really good Psychic Strikers. Soulrock. Solid, offensive stats. That's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Really, really bad speed. Defenses are, I guess its physical defense is fine. Like, special defense is whatever. HP is, I guess it's not the worst HP. And then, Zen Headbutt, X Attack, Rock Tomb, both these 2-gauge moves, 151 damage, 139 damage, but this one you're mainly using it for lower speed, right? And then, like, you don't even have, like, aggravation for, like, the flinch on Zen Headbutt. Again, it's a striker, so, it makes sense it doesn't have aggravation, but, like, what are you doing? And then as All Is One, which is basically an extra X Attack. That's all it is. Yeah, Soulrock, not good. Yeah, either as a rock type striker or a psychic type striker, it's just not really good. So there we go, folks. That's it for this one, I guess. I hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like and enjoy this video, subscribe to my channel for some more Propass content, and I'll see you guys in the next one.